I spent my life fighting, but I never realized I was fighting myself. My name is Jackson, and for years, I was on the front lines, protesting, organizing, shouting until my voice was raw. I fought for justice, for the oppressed, for what I believed was right. But with every battle I waged, my anger grew. It wasn't just a system I was fighting against, it was a people. Those who didn't see the world as I did. Those I believed were the problem. But wait! Before we begin, if you enjoy powerful life stories like this, let us know where you are watching from, and please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential videos. The fire inside me burned so hot that it started consuming me. I lost friends, pushed family away, and barely slept. I lived off caffeine, stress, and rage. I told myself it was passion, but the truth? It was poison. Then, one night, in the middle of an argument, one that I had to win, everything stopped. A sharp pain tore through my chest. My vision blurred. The world around me faded. And in a single breath, I was gone. One moment, I was yelling, my fists clenched, my heart pounding. The next, a searing pain exploded in my chest. It felt like a giant hand had reached inside and squeezed with all its strength. I gasped, but no air came. My knees buckled. The world around me twisted into a blur of colors and sounds. I could hear someone shouting my name, but their voice felt distant, like it was coming from the end of a long tunnel. Then, nothing. No pain. No sound. No weight. Just silence. I was floating. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but then I saw myself lying there on the floor. My body motionless. My face frozen in agony. People rushed around me, their voices frantic. Someone was shaking me, trying to wake me up. A man in a uniform, a paramedic, pressed his hands to my chest and started pumping. I should have panicked. I should have been screaming, but I wasn't. I felt calm. A strange peace settled over me as I watched them struggle to bring me back. That's when it hit me. I was dead. My body was there, but I wasn't in it anymore. As I hovered above my lifeless body, a force stronger than anything I had ever known pulled me away. It wasn't frightening. It was gentle, warm, and full of peace. I felt weightless, as if I were being carried by invisible hands. The chaos of the room faded, and in its place, a brilliant light surrounded me. Not just any light. This light was alive. It wasn't just something I saw. It was something I felt. Love, pure and overwhelming, wrapped around me like a blanket. Every worry, every ounce of anger, every grudge I had ever held simply dissolved in its presence. Then I saw him. A being of unimaginable radiance stood before me. I knew, without being told, that this was Jesus. His eyes held a depth I couldn't comprehend, both fierce and tender, like he saw everything about me and still loved me completely. His presence alone was enough to undo me. Without a word, he reached out, and suddenly, my entire life unfolded before me. I watched myself from childhood to adulthood, not just from my own perspective, but from the eyes of others. I felt every wound I had inflicted with my words, every moment of pain I had caused in my anger. I saw my family, my friends, even strangers, people I had dismissed, hated, or hurt, feeling the sting of my rage as if it were my own. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. And then, something even more profound happened. I became them. I felt their confusion, their hurt, their struggles. I saw that the people I had fought so hard against weren't my enemies. They were me. We were all connected, strands of the same divine thread. Every act of love rippled outward, just as every act of hatred poisoned more than just the intended target. Tears filled my eyes. I had spent my life trying to change the world through anger, but here, in the presence of ultimate truth, I finally understood. Only love creates true change. As I stood there, surrounded by this overwhelming presence of love, the truth became undeniable. We are all one. Every boundary I had built in my mind, race, politics, beliefs, meant nothing here. There were no sides, no divisions, no us versus them. Just souls, connected, woven together by something far greater than we could ever comprehend. Jesus looked at me with eyes that saw everything, my struggles, my passion, my mistakes. And then, without speaking, He placed something into my heart, not as words, but as pure understanding. Love is what transforms the world, not rage. The fight for justice is good, but when fueled by anger, it only creates more suffering. True change begins with love, not war against others, but a war within, against the hatred and pride that blinds us. I saw it so clearly now. My activism had meaning, but my anger had poisoned my purpose. Instead of healing, I had deepened wounds. Instead of bringing people together, I had created more division. I had spent my life trying to tear down the walls of injustice, but in doing so, I had built my own walls, ones that separated me from the very people I claimed to fight for. Tears streamed down my face. I had been so certain, so convinced that my way was the only way. But here, in this place of pure truth, I finally understood love isn't weak. Love is the most powerful force in existence. It doesn't scream, it heals. It doesn't destroy, it restores. It is the only thing that can truly change the world. As I stood in the presence of pure love, I felt something shift. There was a choice before me. I could stay in this peace, in this place where there was no pain, no struggle, only truth. Oh, I could go back. I could return to the world I had left behind, but this time with a new understanding. I didn't want to leave. After feeling such divine love, the thought of returning to my old life, to the chaos, the division, the brokenness, felt unbearable. But then I saw them, my family, my friends, even the strangers I had once called my enemies. I saw their pain, their searching hearts, their need for love. I knew I had a mission. I couldn't keep this truth to myself. I had to go back and share what I had learned. Before I could even make the decision, I felt myself being pulled away from the light. The warmth faded, and suddenly, I was rushing backward, like being sucked into a tunnel at unimaginable speed. Then, with a gasp, my eyes shot open. I was back. The pain in my chest was gone, but my heart felt different in another way. Everything looked the same, yet nothing was the same. I wasn't the same. I had seen the truth. I had felt the oneness of all people. I had encountered the power of love itself. The doctors called it a miracle. They had worked on me for what felt like an eternity, and yet, against all odds, I had come back. But I knew it wasn't just my body that had been revived. It was my soul. From that moment on, I couldn't live the way I had before. My activism didn't stop, but it transformed. It was no longer fueled by rage. It was fueled by love. I no longer fought against people. I fought for them. I came back to spread one simple, yet life-changing truth. We are not enemies. We are one. And only love has the power to heal this world. Waking up in that hospital bed, I knew I had been given a second chance, not just at life, but at living the right way. Everything I had once stood for still mattered. But now, I saw it through a different lens. My anger was gone. The bitterness, the resentment, they had no place in me anymore. In their place was something I had never truly embraced before: compassion. I didn't stop being an activist. I didn't stop speaking out against injustice. But I no longer saw people as enemies. I no longer fought against others. I fought for them. Even those I once despised, I now saw as brothers and sisters, lost in the same illusions that had once blinded me. Instead of shouting in rage, I spoke with understanding. Instead of attacking, I reached out with love. And to my surprise, it changed everything. People listened in ways they never had before. Walls that seemed impossible to break down crumbled when met with love instead of hate. Conversations that once ended in anger now ended in understanding. I realized that love isn't just an emotion. It's a force, a power greater than anything we can imagine. It doesn't mean ignoring injustice. It means fighting it with a heart that seeks to heal, not destroy. If there's one thing I want the world to know, it's this: we are all one. Every human being, no matter their background, their beliefs, or their past, is connected. The divisions we create are an illusion. And if we truly want to change the world, it won't be through anger, violence, or division. It will only be through love. True, selfless, unconditional love. Because in the end, love is the only thing that lasts. It's the only thing that matters. If there's one thing I've learned from this experience, it's that anger is a fire that consumes everything in its path, including the one holding it. I spent years feeding that fire, believing it gave me strength, believing it was necessary to create change. But in the end, all it did was burn me from the inside out. It blinded me to the truth that we are all connected, that even those I opposed were not my enemies, but part of the same human family. Now, I want to ask you, is there anger in your heart? Is there resentment towards someone who hurt you, bitterness toward those who think differently than you, hatred toward those you see as a problem? I know what it's like to hold on to that. I know how easy it is to justify it. But I also know what waits on the other side of it. And I promise you, love is a far greater power than hate will ever be. I urge you to take a moment to reflect. Think about the people you struggle to forgive, the groups or individuals you've labeled as the enemy. What if, instead of fighting against them, you chose to love them? What if you saw them not as obstacles, but as fellow human beings, flawed, just like you, searching for meaning, just like you, in need of grace, just like you? The world is divided enough. It doesn't need more anger, more hostility, more battles waged in the name of righteousness. It needs love. It needs people willing to build bridges instead of walls. People willing to listen instead of shouting. People willing to see the humanity in those they once condemned. If you ever felt consumed by anger, I urge you, seek love instead. I promise you, it will change everything. And if my story has touched you in any way, let me know in the comments. Share your thoughts, your experiences, or even your struggles. Let's create a conversation rooted in understanding and healing. And before you go, if you believe in the power of love to change lives, make sure to subscribe. This is just the beginning, and I want to continue sharing these messages of truth and transformation with you. Together, we can make a difference, one heart at a time.